and welcome to another episode of Hallmarked. I am Kristen.
I'm Aya.
And we have gone back to Hallmark.
Yeah. Last time we went, what do we do, Mar Vista?
Yeah, accidentally.
Whoops.
Yeah, but we're back with Let It Snow, and we had to watch this one because we realised we're 7 episodes in now,
Yeah.
and we haven't done a Candace.
Yeah, a Candace Cameron Bure. Now, she's known for Full House, but she's also known for doing Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
She's since recently moved on from
She
Hallmark
has.
to the Family... I would love to talk about that.
The Family Network.
The Family Network.
That'll be a Patreon episode.
Yeah. Can you people tell us to start our Patreon so we can? So it was good to finally do a Candace,
Yeah.
a CBB.
A CBB movie.
Yeah.
We had a LBB movie last week. Now we have a CBB movie this week.
That's so true.
Before we get into our very constructive feedback on this episode,
What are you talking about?
give us a rundown.
Okay. So IMDb says that this movie, Let It Snow, made in 2013, is about an executive who examines her company's new property and prepares a presentation to transform the rustic lodge into a new hotspot.
Whee!
I mean, yeah, sure, that's true. It stars Candace Cameron Bure as Stephanie. She is the executive, and she works for her dad's company, who is played by Alan Thicke. And then you've got Jesse Hutch, who plays the small town guy.
The small town lad who is always in flannel.
In flannel, love that.
Love
so
that.
then my version of the
Yes.
of the plot is her dad has acquired this small town lodge, and he owns this big, I guess a real estate company.
He seems to have a hotel chain
Yes.
where he buys small businesses.
Yeah, and he basically sends her up to this lodge in Maine to do a report on how to improve it and renovate it or knock it down or whatever. And this is all happening a week before Christmas, and Christmas Eve is her final pitch. Naturally. So she goes and she meets the handsome, rugged, small town guy, Brady. And, he has to show her around because it was his parents who own the lodge. So it's a family business for them, and it's just about him showing her things and her taking photos of things and trying to write this report. And eventually they fall in love, and she writes this report, and it turns out he helps her to write the report because he had plans for this place himself, but obviously it got sold on. We'll probably get into that in a bit more detail soon. And yeah, do I spoil it? Yeah, that's the point of this, right?
Okay, if you would like to skip the next 30 seconds,
no, because we'll talk about it later anyway. She eventually pitches this idea where it's not a knockdown. It's improve it.
Yes,
Build upon it. It's about family, blah, blah, blah. The dad goes, no, you're fired. And then eventually he comes around because he sees a letter that she wrote to Santa in her 30s. And things are all good at the end.
As always.
And that's my version of the plot.
And that is a very... Yeah, well, look.
There's a lot I missed. I just couldn't be bothered.
That's so fair. Before we go into all of the things that we thought while we watched this movie, which we did record a reaction video to, so you will get to see some of those.
Yes.
Is the meet cute moment.
Yeah.
Is because Brady is in charge of taking Stephanie around. He's the one that picks her up from the helicopter pad. / airport. She flew in on a helicopter.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's your preferred mode of transport.
Yeah,
but
this movie had budget.
Yeah. And she's waiting for a car, and he parks the car and splashes her with ice, and then walks in to find who he's picking up, and it's a miscommunication, and they're all grumpy with each other, and then they fall in love later.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it was your kind of typical, I guess, meet cute.
Typical in that he was clearly the small town guy who's
Yeah.
watch out for potholes. What is it? Slush happens.
Yes, slush happens.
And she's the big city executive gal who's very oh my gosh, you got me wet, open the door for me.
Yes.
Things like that. Sorry, I didn't mean to say you got me wet. I didn't, that's not what I meant. Sorry. I realized once I said it,
With
I probably
ice.
also didn't need to bring it up. Just gonna let that slide.
And for all our PG listeners out there,
Oh.
we're gonna remain on track.
Sorry.
Well, you don't know what she was thinking.
Yeah.
Look, there were some good parts of this movie.
Sure. Yeah.
The like cousin.
Yes.
That wasn't a cousin, because the idea of the lodge is that families come back every single Christmas, and they
Yeah.
have done for years, and
Yeah.
so it's all the same guests every year.
Yes.
And the woman, I don't know if we ever got her name.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Who is like, I grew up here, and we're basically, Brady and I have like grown up together. We're basically like family. She was great.
Yeah, her acting was good.
It was just so conversational, so
Yeah.
natural, the way
Yeah.
it should be, and a complete juxtaposition
Yeah.
to whatever Candace was doing in
Yeah.
this movie.
And Candace is like she's an actress. I
Yes.
mean, obviously.
And a decent one.
But this one, no.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Yeah.
Really weird vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah.
Let's get into some weird.
Okay. The weirdest thing for me was just the European country shout outs throughout the entire thing. The mother, who is the owner of the lodge, Carla. So it's, yes, the husband and wife, sorry. Yeah, the wife. So Brady's mum. Everything has got some kind of European tie to it.
Yes.
Like these cookies are from Iceland. Oh, we have a traditional Italian feast of the fishes, 7 fishes,
Yeah,
or
on
something like
Christmas
that.
Eve.
Like so many countries,
So many countries.
but no reason behind it.
Not that we heard. Maybe we talked over the
But-
top of it.
But also, was it, just thinking now, was it done that way because they focus so much on tradition? So were these things like a tradition for their country? So she was just like, let's embrace traditions from anywhere. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There was no... they brought up Thanksgiving a couple of times because their busy period kind of includes Thanksgiving, but there was no American Christmas tradition
No.
in there.
Yeah.
And there was no explanation as to whether, like, there was a European heritage, because, like, great-granddad, granddad's dad, now son, all ran the same business.
Yes.
So... it was confusing.
Because, like, at least in Return to Christmas Creek, they kept bringing up the smorgasbord. At least we eventually found out that they were, like, had Danish heritage. But this was just like, oh, we like the countries. I've written the countries down. Hold on, let me get my notebook.
You ready?
Iceland, Finland, Switzerland, Poland,
Poland.
Italy, and France.
Because it kind of started off fairly Scandinavian-ish.
Yes.
And then we threw French and Italian
Yeah, it was
there,
like-
and it got a bit confusing.
It was like an Italian Christmas Eve dinner, but then reference to Pierre Noël, which is Father Christmas in, in Russian, in French. It was so confusing.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
Yeah, and just like some, I don't know. What did Candace made? She made like this disgusting, oh, that's rude because it's obviously a food of a country.
It was a sausage soup.
Potato and sausage
sausage
soup.
That's
which-
really hard to say.
Potato and sausage soup. It didn't look good.
No.
But that was from somewhere.
Yeah.
It gives me Eastern European vibes.
There are a lot of foods that I am tempted to try baking, just to see if they're actually a thing.
Like the Iceland cookies.
Or the little chocolate star ones.
Oh, yeah.
Because they seem to need to let the dough rest before putting them in the oven that wasn't turned on.
Yeah, yeah. that was like a big thing for me. What about you? What's your
Just like
big
what?
icks? Yeah.
I
Your
just
what
felt
moments?
so uncomfortable by the Brady-Stephanie relationship.
There was no chemistry.
No.
No.
And then when they like were like frustrated with each other, and then suddenly there's like a little crush on each other.
Yeah.
And then they bond over the fact that they're both Grinches but not really Christmaphobes.
Yeah, they're not Christmaphobes.
They're not really Christmaphobes. And then for some reason that just launched them into Love Fest.
Yeah.
But then it just, I don't know, there was just something that every time they touched, I just felt icky.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just something like it was definitely like giving opposites attract vibes.
Yes.
But they didn't attract
No.
at all.
They wanted to attract.
Yeah.
It was, that was weird for me.
It also happened quite
Quickly.
Yeah.
So quickly.
Yeah.
And like at the end of the movie, they've known each other for what, maximum a week, maybe less. And they tell each other they love each other.
No.
No.
I
don't know. It felt a lot. And I think because there were those weird sexist, misogynistic undertones coming from Mum, Carla, it made it slightly weirder.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things that were said that I was just like, 2013, maybe 10 years ago, we were in a slightly different place. But
It definitely felt like a different place.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the relationship was really weird. But what was weird within that relationship, and just for a Hallmark movie, is that we got a mid-movie kiss.
We got a mid-movie kiss.
For a Hallmark movie, I don't know, 2013 Hallmark is so different. But you could see that just in terms of budget as well. The fact that she was carrying, first of all, a Chanel handbag and came in a helicopter.
Yes.
You would never get that now. No. But yeah, the mid-movie kiss was...
We got two interrupted... No, we got one interrupted one, and then we got an actual one that we were like, we're waiting for to be interrupted.
Yeah.
And then did we get one at the end? No.
There was a kiss at the very end.
Just before the credits?
Yeah. It started snowing, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then...
There were two actual kisses.
There were two actual... Unheard of.
Yeah. It was... yeah, you don't get that these days.
But it also came out of like, they were singing Christmas carols, they're watching the tree being lit. And then they're like, you sing so beautifully. So do you.
Yeah. Christmas is so much better now because of you. Mwah. Yeah. Yeah. The singing really got them.
Yeah. And then kind of from that point onwards, that mid, not even mid, like 3/4
It was
away.
3/4, yeah.
From that point on, I think because we are so used to that happening at the end of the movie, it felt like it should have been the end of the movie. And
It did.
The rest of the movie took so long.
It did. There was also immediately after the kiss, there was a couple's montage.
There was. They had a day out in the snow.
Yeah. Probably like a morning out, to be honest.
Probably.
Based on the timeline of this movie. Yeah, I agree that once they had that kiss, the ending, it took a long time to get to that point.
It just kind of seems like we were barreling towards them getting together, and then they got together, and then there were so many things that we had to finalize.
But like even the stakes weren't high enough like within their relationship and when they had their conflict, because she came in absolutely hating Christmas, being like, I'm doing what my dad wants, we are knocking this down, why would you have that, to all of a sudden being like,
I love everything,
everything's amazing, Christmas is so good,
yeah,
I just have to do what my dad wants but I don't want to, and they huff and puff and then walk away, and then she doesn't do what her dad does.
No.
But even if she said, I have to do what my dad does, and like stood by it, I don't know, I feel like that would have been better.
Yeah.
It was just like a quick, I'm angry, now let's work together to get this proposal done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird. The other weird thing was there are a lot of characters that were mentioned.
Yes.
That were not in the movie.
Yeah, what was the guy she supposedly works with or works
Bart.
with? Bart.
You know, there could have been some like tension building with sending Bart to the lodge.
Yeah.
And maybe Bart's the one that's like, no, this isn't our brand. Mm-hmm. But why bring up Bart? We brought up Bart 3 or 4 times and never saw him.
Yeah, and I don't know why. It just seems like a thing of like, I hate doing this, but I'm gonna, like, I'll get a man in to do this job if you can't.
Yes.
You're too emotionally involved.
You're too female.
You're too, female-y. I'm going to get a man in to do this job for you. So that was gross. And who was the other one?
The brother, Jack, who lives in Australia, but came
Brady's
up in
brother.
Conversation many times.
Yeah.
That I was expecting him to, like, turn up on Christmas Eve and be like, hey, guys, I'm back.
Yeah. But no.
But no.
No.
Because he lives in Australia, and as we know, once you're here in Australia, you can never leave.
You can never leave. I think a lot of people still think that Australia's not real. So if you're in America watching this right now, are we real or are we AI?
What?
Or are we aliens?
Crazy.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate there was a reference to Australia in there.
Yeah,
but
that was
mainly
cute.
because I think it feels so far away to everybody that, like, that's a big step. If someone leaves America to move to Australia,
Yeah.
it's huge.
Yeah. And it's also like the exact opposite of where they're from, like Maine.
Yeah.
Mountains, snow,
Pine
trees to like the bush.
Yeah.
Or the outback. Yeah. Can we talk about the father-child relationship?
Sure.
They both had interesting relationships with their fathers.
Yeah. They did. I feel like we didn't get a lot of the father-daughter relationship in person.
No.
She talked about it a lot.
She talked about it a lot, saw her on the phone.
Yeah. But like,
That was it.
and maybe that was the point because they don't have a relationship,
Yeah.
right? Whereas the other relationship, Brady and Paul,
Yeah, I think it's
Question
Paul.
are like embedded in each other's lives. They butt heads. They see things differently. But they're still both very much acting like children in
Yeah.
their parental dynamic
Yeah.
for the whole movie.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, hey, Dad, if you want me to take over this business, we're going to have to talk because
Yeah.
once it's mine, it's mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we can't have that conversation, then cool, I don't
Yeah.
need to be here.
Yeah.
And for old mate Stephanie, just being like, the switch that flipped,
Oh my God. did it ever?
like, she came in as an adult and she left as a 10-year-old girl.
She had, like, I think it said when we were watching it, like, she has, like, childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Because she was deprived of this father-daughter relationship.
Yeah.
She was deprived of any kind of fun family Christmas after her mother died. And then, you know, there was no relationship with the father, no Christmas anymore. This kind of made her become a child again.
Yeah.
And she, like, got so excited on Christmas Day,
Yeah.
ran down, wrote a letter to Santa, ran down to look at her presents, said a lot of things to her dad about Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just kind of all snowballed.
Yeah. Haha.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah. It was
Weird, and then
uncomfortable.
then the wrap up of that moment was very quick. Dad came in pretending to be Santa Claus, gave presents to all of the children, and then said, "I'm here to make up for lost time," essentially. And that was the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And I guess Brady and Paul got the same deal where he was just like, I should have been less stubborn, and Dad was like, I should have been less stubborn, and Mum was like, but if you both weren't stubborn, then you'd never have met Stephanie, and that was the closure for them.
Yeah.
Done.
The reason for them being stubborn all these years was so that Brady could meet
A girl,
Stephanie. Yeah.
because everyone must be partnered.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. The thing that I wrote it down because it was the weirdest thing that the mother said.
Oh, so many things.
Yeah, she did say, oh gosh, my notes are interesting. She said, a son's a son until he takes a wife. A daughter's a daughter for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Ugh, I hate
Yuck.
it. I think I said to you while we were watching it, like, if my mother talked in metaphors all the time, then we would have a very different relationship.
Yeah. And this quote came after the whole fact that, Carla, is that her name? Yes. Yeah, the mother, was telling Stephanie, oh, they're both stubborn. There was like that whole stubborn
If
conversation.
you ever have a child, make sure you have a little girl.
Yeah, because you can control that so easily. That was... Blah, 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 blah.
Yes, there was some really weird.
The mother was weird though.
Yeah, and there was no there was kind of they were alluding to the fact that Dad had maybe started going through dementia, and that he'd had an accident with his back, and that's why Brady had stayed, and that Mum maybe has some mental health issues, but they were very much just like little seeds that were thrown out there and not watered.
Yeah.
You know, we never saw any growth in those storylines. It was just kind of like, oh, we need to kind of explain. Let's just throw in this teeny tiny little bit of exposition and hope for the best.
Yeah, it's like as if they wanted to talk about it, but they're not allowed to talk about that in a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Is it a Hallmark thing or like even 2013 in terms of...
It was very probably a bit more conservative 10 years ago.
Yeah, I would say so. For sure. I mean, except for that mid-movie kiss.
Oh,
That was...
that was almost making a PG movie as opposed to a G movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, who needs it?
But, I mean, yeah. But, so, his father... So, the mother's like, okay. She says some interesting things. But his father is so allergic to the 21st century.
So allergic to it. He does not want... He literally said, I don't want anything motorized.
Yeah.
That includes toboggan belts and... snowmobiles. And he calls a wireless phone, like a cordless phone, a cell phone.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have cell phone towers or...
Yeah, the reception's bad up there.
Bad, you know? So that was also strange.
It's like this thing that these movies do sometimes. It's just like they push tradition. And at the end of the day, tradition still wins. And like it's nice, but for once I just want the building to get demolished and like something like that would be a fun
Start from
ending.
scratch.
But like it focused so much on tradition and things not being modern, which is just so weird.
Well, I think that's always going to be the tension when you have a generational storyline, right?
Yeah.
Like dad wants this, son wants this, and the only thing that really sets them apart is the old ways and the new ways. And we see that a lot in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
And it will always be that the older generation is opposed to technology and to innovation and all of that stuff, and the younger generation is like, but there are better ways to do things.
Yeah.
And that is like always like that's life.
Yeah, it's still very much a thing.
Yeah.
These days, for sure. So, like for 2013, ahead of its time. I mean, it probably was
Of its time.
of its time, but it's still very relevant today.
Yeah. And I like, it is a question of like, why? If it's going to improve something, if you already have a good business, then why not think about ways to enhance it?
But like, the father didn't want things to change so much. Brady wasn't suggesting major changes. It was like upgrades, but still keeping the feel of the place. But you sell it to someone who even though says we're going to keep it the way it is. I'm sorry, they own like hotel franchises.
Yeah.
You think they're going to keep it the way it is? Like, why would you sell it to someone externally who you... What?
Yeah.
So much trust in someone you don't know, but yet you can't trust your own son.
No.
Please.
Yeah. Wild.
I know. Wild.
Anything else we didn't like about this film?
Can we talk about the ice fishing scene?
Oh, yes. I was about to say, I need to talk about the stockings, no stockings moment, and it all links together. So.
Yeah. Okay, good. Very important. All right, do you want to explain the ice fishing?
So, naturally, Brady and Stephanie fall in love, and he wants to take her to dinner. And because she wants to try everything on the property, skiing, tobogganing, ice fishing, he decides that the perfect dinner would be ice fishing for your own meal. But we get to this cute little fishing hut that we have seen earlier in the movie.
Yep.
He flicks a switch in the middle of the snow, I'm assuming it's battery powered, and a fairy-like runway leads them to the door, and then they get inside, and it's all very cute. Very small.
Very heated as well.
Very
apparently.
heated. Take off your jackets, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
They fish.
They do.
They fish. She's very excited about catching the fish. And then the next thing we see is that they jump through all the boring bits of fish cooking, and they're at the end where they've eaten the fish with nowhere in the cabin that you can cook it.
Yeah. All of a sudden they're like, oh, that was delicious. Where did you cook this? Did you season it?
Yeah.
Did you have vegetables in here?
It just looks like they ate one whole fish between the two of them.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to fish anymore. She's done. She's ready to move on. Many things are wrong with this scenario. Firstly, when she comes down and they're like, "What do you eat for dinner? Oh my gosh, you look so nice." She's just in this like long sleeve shirt dress.
Yes.
With stockings and boots. We're in the middle of winter. It's very snowing outside. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's because we live in Queensland, but I would want more clothes on.
But they've made a point before this moment several times. It's minus 32 degrees.
Yes.
You'll freeze. You need to dress warmly.
Yeah. And then he takes her into the wilderness for a walk to this hut.
Yeah.
And they get to the hut, and the first thing he said is, "You'll want to take off your jacket," which she doesn't.
No, she doesn't.
She leaves it on.
Yeah.
He's also just in like a t-shirt and a flannel.
Is it a fun? Yeah.
I think, or just like a button.
Maybe we just think he's in a
shirt,
flannel every time.
Button-down shirt that he has open. It was weird. I'm trying to like, my brain is
What
like
happened?
a tick, 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 tick.
Yeah.
They have had such a lovely montage prior to this. Was this prior to
no,
the
this
montage?
was
This was before.
Sorry, before.
Before the montage. This is the first. They've had like a really nice day shopping. They've like accepted each other's differences.
Mm-hmm.
They've apologized for their first meeting. They've
Yeah.
said thank you for helping me out. And this is not. This is not what she was expecting dinner to look like.
No,
One.
I wouldn't.
It's not what I
wouldn't
was
expect it
expecting
either.
dinner to
And I
look
probably,
like.
if I would say no, thank you.
No.
Yeah.
And then after they fish, which like fun experience, but I don't want to do it in the dark.
Yeah.
And I want to take it back to the kitchen
Yeah.
in the hotel.
Yeah, with space.
To prepare it. And then if we have to find some nice one-on-one time, I have a full suite apparently.
Yeah, with a giant bed.
This episode's going downhill fast.
I know, I'm sorry. I need to stop. I'm sorry, if you're going to make me watch... No, you didn't make me watch this. If we're going to if we're going to watch choose to watch these movies, we've got to spice them up a little bit sometimes.
Well, that's the thing, is that the next shot,
yes.
they're back at the hotel. They're walking out of the hotel to go into the hotel. I'm not really sure. They're walking somewhere. And her stockings are gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what happened in the hut?
Yeah, something saucy happened in that hut.
Obviously warm enough that you no longer need anything on your legs.
Yeah.
So that was the only moment of continuity that we were like, hang on a minute.
Yeah. Maybe they were hinting without hinting that. No,
Maybe.
because then that immediately after they almost kissed.
Yes. Almost.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
that's what
it
happened.
was.
Yeah.
They got
Stunning.
to the door and they were like, I should go. She was like, I should go in. Thanks for a nice night. And he's like, I too should go in because we both live here at the moment.
Yeah. But you go in first.
You go in first and then
I'll eventually go in.
We haven't had a fishing scene in a movie before.
Oh, stunning.
So like, yay. But it just, I don't know, I feel like maybe we had to like shove down the viewer's throat just like how much Christmas and how much snow stuff we could fit into one movie.
Yeah.
Because we've done skiing, we've done ice walking, we've done tobogganing, we've done, like, you know, we have the horse-drawn carriage and the sleigh ride.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did we need ice fishing? Probably not.
But she had to see everything.
But she had to see everything.
She had to see,
and so did we.
They brought up a point where the kids were ice skating near the ice fishing thing. But like, if you drill a hole, won't it crack?
Yeah.
I don't know how ice works.
I don't know how, yeah.
Surely not.
Anybody who's done ice fishing before, please let us know.
Yeah, because we don't know.
No.
I feel like this thing was like a big moment. But I don't know, in a magical way. Okay. It's
magical is Aya's watchword.
The way apparently you're meant to meet a man, there are rules. What was it called?
So it's a tradition. What is it?
Something
should have written
Swedish,
it
maybe,
down.
or Switzerlandish.
I'm going to say
Swiss.
I'm going to say Saint Thomas because
that sounds.
that's the name that's come to my mind.
Yeah, probably is.
His day.
Yeah, Thomas Day,
Yeah.
something like that.
You are meant to, as a woman, you are meant to stand on a stool to stand on your bed. I don't know if it was a specific stool or if it's just any stool.
Or was it a wooden
A
stool?
wooden stool.
I don't
She
know.
had a cushioned one.
Okay,
I
so then
think
maybe it's just a stool.
so stand on a stool with your shoes on.
Yep.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Stand on a stool with shoes on to stand on your bed.
Yeah, with your shoes on.
Also, one of the biggest beds I've ever seen in my
Yeah,
life.
that was a huge.
Stand on a stool, stand on the bed, take your shoes off, spin around 3 times.
No, throw the shoes at the door
After you spin around.
before.
Before?
Yeah.
Throw your shoes at the door, spin around 3
Yeah.
times, then lie down with your head where your feet would go and fall asleep. And you will dream of the man that you're meant to spend the rest of your life with.
So she does that. She's wearing ballet flats with her pajamas, first
Yeah.
of all.
Because that's normal. I mean, slippers surely count.
Yeah. She's spinning around, having a good old giggle. She falls asleep, and then next minute she wakes up.
Like immediately.
Immediately, like, it's morning, and all we see is, like, before that, there's, like, a slight transition where there are starry kind of blurry lights, and you go,
lights.
okay. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh my gosh, no, Brady. And you're like, what?
Yeah. And then
then-
from that moment on, love.
Yeah. But then apparently one of these rando little girls who she keeps chatting to
Yeah.
is like, who did you dream about?
Yeah, let's like talk about who we dreamed about. And I'm like, no 9-year-old child.
Yes, me, 9-year-old child. I'll tell you who I dreamt about if you tell me who you, like, mid-30s, who you dreamt about.
Because I can kind of guess, maybe, because there's only one man here
Yeah.
that is your age.
And then old mate Stephanie sees Brady and she's like a bit awkward because obviously she's dreamt about him. And then his mum sees this reaction, or this interaction, sorry, and it's just like, the dream.
It was she dreamt about him.
But
And
it's
I was
like,
how do you know?
they have not shown good communication or a good kind of rapport with each other before that.
No.
So what made her? Yeah, I think you even said like,
Yeah.
what? Like how? How did you? What made this moment? What?
Yeah.
Why would you think that she dreamt of?
Because there's a female in the lodge that
Yeah.
could be good for Brady.
I think it's just funny. We're gonna try it.
We're going to try it.
We're gonna try see if this is how you meet men.
Yeah.
So gonna have a
But
good
what
old.
So if we dream about someone we haven't met?
But also, I don't want to sleep on the other end of the
No,
bed.
it's not comfortable.
Like, I think I'll fall off.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of effort.
Yeah. Oh, well. I guess that's it. Spinsters forever.
Yeah.
Oh, and it had to be a spinster.
Oh, yeah,
It
no,
was
yes.
very clearly dictated that a spinster
Which is an unmarried woman,
should
by the way.
stand on a stool.
Yeah.
Then stand on a bed. Then throw some shoes and lie down. And I don't know. It's so funny. Because I mean, younger versions of us did not envision being single in our early 30s. But also, it's not a bad time.
Yeah. I think these movies, whether it's Hallmark, Mar Vista, the way that they speak about women and single women who are successful in their early 30s, it's just really disturbing.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
No.
And the fact that it's still happening, like 2013, sure, like we were probably a bit more misogynistic back then. Sort of I, but like probably. But we've watched movies that like
Very recently.
5 to 7 years after this one, and it's just, it's not nice. Why is it always the woman?
Why is it always the woman? Actually, I sent you a reel this week. By slight detour. I sent you a reel this week that was sent on to me by our friends at Ghost of Boyfriend Past podcast about a guy talking about this. If a Hallmark movie had a leading man and he moved from like the small town to the big city, and I would like watch it. We'll share it to our socials so you can have a look. I was like, I would 100% watch this movie.
Yeah.
This sounds great.
Yeah.
This sounds so good.
Yeah.
I would love to see a role reversal.
Yeah.
Because it is always the woman has no worth until she leaves her big city job and finds the love of her life. And they literally said in this movie, I love you, which they don't often do.
No, that's true.
after 3 days of knowing each other.
Yeah. And it's always the woman who's like more emotional or more like frantic or more this, and the guy's always like, I'm calm, I'm chilled, I'm stubborn. It's just the stereotypes and just the misogyny it's always just, I don't like it. Like, we'll still watch them.
I mean, we will still watch them.
But we'll just probably have the same critique every time. Like, really, this you could do something different.
My worth is not tied to my relationship status.
Yeah.
But it is often, I mean, we've been conditioned to think that our entire lives.
That's true.
And so it's not surprising that that's in our entertainment as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is funny. And maybe one day, look, we will write our own movie one day.
Yes.
We can give it a go. And we'll make sure that any female, it will pass the Bechdel test.
Yeah.
If two females are in a room together, they don't have to talk about children, men.
Yeah.
They can have other interests.
Yeah.
And Christmas alone is okay.
Yeah. Christmas alone, like, you just calm down with the Christmas. We all love Christmas. It's very fun. But yes. One more, I feel like when you start talking about positive things, but one more thing that made me laugh is the time period of how popular this resort is. It got brought up the first day of Advent to the what?
To 12th night.
To 12th night is what they kept referring. I was like, sorry, is this like in the calendar written there? Something like in the financial year? What are you talking about?
40 days before Christmas, 12 days after Christmas.
So they make a point of saying Thanksgiving gets in there. So that's when their peak kind of season is. Yeah. So I just 100% remembered
booked all of that period.
I just remember that they said that a few times. I was just like, oh my gosh.
12th night. That was the bit that we were like, what? Like Advent, sure, fine.
But
if
even
you want to go via the church calendar, then so be it.
I mean, it's Hallmark.
Yeah.
So like, of course they would throw that in there.
Sure. But till 12th night, yes, that was made a point very clearly.
Yeah. Several times.
Okay.
Should we move on to positive things?
We should.
This is the worst part of the podcast. All right, KB, tell me 3 positive things. 3 things you liked.
3 things.
Not even loved. Liked is okay. 3 things you found acceptable. Oh, wow.
I liked seeing all of the food, even though it was very strange.
Yeah.
Because now I want to do my bonus episode where we bake all of the things in a Hallmark movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They were just like cookies and cheesecakes. It's fine. It was fun. I liked... Oh, goodness gracious.
I know.
Goodness gracious. I liked that we... got to see some gingerbread house making.
These
all baking.
These are all baking. Oh my god.
It's all I really like baking and I really like food, so maybe all of them will be food related. And I really liked the girl who played the guest. I think she was so fun. She wasn't in it enough. But she kind of tied everything in together in this way that I'm like, oh, why can't I watch more of you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I should find another thing. But there were no dogs. There was a horse.
There's no dog.
But we didn't really get to see the horse.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have 3?
I agree that I liked the woman who's like the cousin type style woman who's been there for years, going there for holidays for years. I did like the actual I thought the scenery, whether it was real or green screen.
Oh, true.
It was very beautiful. I would go there for sure. So that's 2. Geez. I don't know what else there is to like. The kids, every time
You're not a fan.
I just don't think they add anything.
No.
Sorry, that sounds so bad. And there was no dog, so that was a shame. The fashion, I can't really say was great because she kept dressing so inappropriately, even though she was told a million times it's cold. I mean, the main guy, I thought he was cute.
You did?
So, and he was a good actor.
He might rival Mike Ruggles.
Yeah, I would say so. So I vibed him a lot.
Yeah.
And his acting was pretty good.
It was fine.
It's just he had no chemistry with her. So that's 3.
It's so weird because I didn't hate the movie. Like, this isn't the worst one we've ever seen.
This is not the worst one, but I don't have a strong
opinion about it.
Well, no, we have strong
I
opinions.
mean, a feeling about like I don't know what to rate it.
I don't know what to rate it either. But before we rate it,
Yes.
there were only 9 Christmas trees in this movie.
And that was another
that-
thing.
yeah,
we
yeah.
should have talked. We should have counted wreaths.
There were so many wreaths and garlands, and what are those flowers?
Are they poinsettias?
Poinsettias? Yeah, they're red. They're very Christmassy.
I'm not saying that right. I'm not a plant person, so please correct me.
Yeah.
Is no Christmas tree, like for something that was so heavily Christmas tradition focused. We didn't get
A lot of
Christmas
trees. No, like I don't think there was even one in her room.
No.
Which is really weird because usually when someone stays in a hotel, there's usually
Yeah.
a tree. Yeah, so only 9.
It's probably the smallest one.
Yeah.
Other than the ones that aren't Christmas movies.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right.
Rating.
We weren't sure. All right. Yeah, like you said, it's not the worst one.
No.
It's definitely not it's just so middle of the road. Is that the saying?
Yeah, it's just so average. It's
Average. It was okay. I'm gonna give it a 5.
I was gonna say I'm gonna get like if it's literally the middle of the road, let's just give it the middle of the road rating.
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10.
It was okay.
I don't want to watch it. I will never watch this movie again.
No.
I would probably watch Return to Christmas Creek again.
Yeah,
You know?
I felt nothing watching this.
No.
I felt like the ending just kept dragging and it was that 3/4 movie kiss.
Yeah.
There was no chemistry between the main characters.
No. And the more she got, like, the more childlike she got. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why I feel weird about them as a couple, is the more childlike she got, the more
Yeah.
interested he became. And that was just like...
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. And, like, it's nothing to do with Candace Cameron Bure's acting style in any other movie, but in this particular one, I don't think she was the right choice.
No, she wasn't. But I think it would have been a time where she was like repping Hallmark for sure. She was probably almost the face of Hallmark. I would love to deep dive into that. I know
We
I've already
will.
said
Let's
that.
write it down so we remember.
Deep
dive into
Cam BB. Cam BB. Yeah. Look. Okay. I don't know. Sure. It happened. We watched it.
so
That's nice.
We watched it, and now you can choose whether you want to watch it.
I feel
or
like
not.
just listening to this, you get the idea.
Yeah, it's probably one you can skip, which is so wild because like now we've got a lot of ones in the bank that aren't great, and yet we continue to watch Hallmarks. We love them. We love to watch them.
Not the worst, but not the best.
Not the best.
Definitely not the best.
And hopefully next one we pick will be like, oh my god!
I would love that. I would love to feel more positive about it. I would love to be able to confidently say 3 things we loved. I need 5.
Yeah. Here's actually a list of 10 things I loved about this movie,
Yeah.
and I'm not ranting about it whatsoever.
That will never happen. That is delusional thinking. Oh my god. Oh, crazy.
Well, if you have watched Let It Snow, you can find it on Stan if you haven't already watched it. And also, thanks, Stan, for allowing us to watch a Hallmark movie. That's so good.
Actually, thank you for bringing that up. Stan. We're buddies. We're Australian pals. We want to see more Hallmark movies on Stan. We know you can do it. Just like you could capture an Australian... Hello, you've got 2 people right here. My mum's waiting as well. Like, I know my mum will go into Stan and watch these movies. Get more Hallmark movies on Stan, please.
Please. Thanks, Stan. Yes, if you haven't already watched it, and you're in Australia, jump onto Stan and have a little look-see, and then let us know what you think.
Yeah.
And you can do that via Instagram,
Yep, you can.
Hallmarked Pod.
Yep.
You can do it via TikTok if you'd like.
Yep.
Also Hallmarked Pod. You can send us an email. Guess what? hallmarkedpod@gmail.com. We've tried to make it as easy as possible for you. And if you would like to jump on and watch this episode as opposed to listening to it, you can find us Hallmarked Pod on YouTube.
Yes. And also, you can leave us a review. That would be lovely.
Would be
Review us
so
on Spotify and
nice.
iTunes.
Yeah.
iTunes, Apple Music. Is that what?
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. None of the above.
Google Play, whatever you're... wherever you're listening to
it's
this,
somewhere.
you will be able to rate in somewhere. Or share it with your friends. Just be like, sub-team, I know that it is April.
Yeah.
But do you want to listen to some Christmas content?
Yeah. We'll sprinkle some non-Christmas movies in there for fun.
Yeah.
I feel like we should do that.
We should do that.
Because the Christmas movies are letting us down at the moment.
They are, and maybe we're just not in the Christmas spirit. Maybe later in the year, every movie we watch will be amazing.
Yeah, I don't think
so. I'm trying so hard.
I know. It's good to be positive, but sometimes it's okay to be negative.
And on that note,
we'll end on a positive. Thanks for listening and watching.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Goodbye.